This is lesson 4.4, Creating Slabs and Floors. In this lesson you will learn how to create simple floors and you will learn how to edit floors. Back to Vectorworks. We're going to be looking at creating floors and slabs. Floors and slabs are only available if you've got one of the Designer Series versions of Vectorworks. So if you just have fundamentals, you will not be able to make a floor or a slab object. Tools on the menu bar, workspaces. I'm using Architect at the moment. I've used Landmark for some of the other movies. I'm going to use the floor object to start with. So I'm going to use a rectangle tool, click here, click down here, and that creates a rectangle. Now there is a quick way to do this if it's a complex building. So let's use my Select Similar tool. I'll select all my walls, and then I can go up to AEC, and I can say Create Polys from Walls. So this will give me a polygon that follows the outside of my walls. There it is. It's just as quick as drawing a rectangle, I guess. But if it was a complex building, this is a very quick way to do it. AEC on the menu bar, and we're going to create a floor. Now a floor is always measured to the underside of the floor. So let's make our floor about 4 inches thick, so minus 4 inches, 4 inches thick. OK, and it creates my slab, or a floor object, and it brings it to the front. Right click, send, and send to back. So it goes at the back of all my walls. Now you can see it clearly. And here in 3D you can see there's my slab back there. So if I select it, there it is, you can see it. So the bottom Z minus 4, the thickness is 4, so it's about 4 inches thick and it's just underneath all my walls. I'm going to delete that because now I'm going to create a slab object. So we can either trace around using this mode, we can fill it using this mode, or we can pick the walls using this mode. But before we go too far, let's have a look at our slab preferences. Now you might find your overall thicknesses are about 6 inches. I'm just going to double click on this to edit it. I want this to be about 100 millimeters, about 4 inches thick. Okay, and I can click here on the datum and I can set my measurement to the top or the bottom of that component. So the top of the component means that the top of my slab is 0, or where my datum is. Click OK. So let's go and pick some of these walls. So that wall, that wall, that one, and click on the green tick, and it creates my slab. Now you might notice that it's automatically bounded my slab here. So my slab is auto-bounded. What I should really do is go back and have a look at my components. Let's double click on this, and it's auto-bounded to the inner face of my wall. I really want that to be the outer face of the wall. And OK, OK. Now if that doesn't work, we also have the ability to do edge offsets. So I can change this to outer face of wall for that edge. In fact, I can choose all of them and do the outer face of the wall. Click OK, and it resets my slab for me. Right click on the slab, we'll go send and send to back. So in that way it looks just like the floor object. But the advantage that I like is that this component here, I can choose where I'm measuring to the top or the bottom. Plus I can auto bound it. What that means is that when I go to my wall and I stretch my wall out, my slab is auto bounded, my slab actually stretches as well. It's a real nice advantage. I want to put some foundation walls going around and I want to put some slab thickening in. So I'm going to go back to my wall tool. Here I'm going to go back to my preferences, and I want this to be a thickness of around about 190 millimeters, which is about 8 inches. I'm going to change my insertion options, so the height is going to be measured from the layer elevation. So the top bound, the top offset from my layer elevation is minus 100 millimeters or minus 4 inches. The bottom offset is minus 600 or minus 24 inches. So what does that do for my wall? Well, when I start drawing walls, and here I need to turn off my auto join. So now when I draw my walls, you can see it's going that side, so I'll just click there. So now I'm going around the outside of my building and my walls are doing that. And I want to put these on a new class. So let's go here, we'll create a new class and we'll call it wall-foundation. And let's edit that after creation so that my walls have no fill. Let's do none. We'll make them a dashed line. We'll make them red. And we'll make it just a short dashed. So in plan view, my walls will look like they're dotted. Yes, please do that. Always do that. Yes. Let's try that again. This time we'll go to the centerline mode. We want to find the center of this wall, because that is a load-bearing wall. So let's come down to here, double click. This wall here is also load-bearing. Find the center, double click. And now what I'm going to do is to turn off some of my objects. Using the visibility tool again, we can turn that off, but that's not actually on the right class. So let's just make sure this is on our class. So a new class, which will be structure slab. And I'm not going to edit the properties after creation, so okay. So now when I turn off my slab, it doesn't turn off all my walls. So turn off that, turn off those, and now what I'd like to do is to join my walls. So we've got those walls, we've got our T-joint, so let's join that wall to there, that wall to there, that one to there, and that one to there as well. Make sure you get the wall spot on, otherwise you'll get that error message. So these two walls should be on the class wall and foundation. And you'll notice here they appear to be see-through. They've got no fill to them. That's because of the class that I created. So if we come down to here and we edit this class, let's go edit. Maybe for our 3D model it would look better if these had solid fill, a black line, and solid black line with a white fill. So now they appear like solid concrete. There might be a deck outside or a patio outside, so I can use a rectangle. There's my patio. Right click on that patio. We're going to create objects from shapes. This is another thing that's only available if you've got one of the designer series of Vectorworks. We want to make that a slab. Delete the source shape. OK. And there's my slab object. And we're going to set the elevation to -100. So it sits just a little bit lower than the rest of the building. What class should that be on? Maybe that should be on a different class, but I'm not going to worry about that. What if I want to make adjustments to the slab? If I need to create a hole in it, I can draw a rectangle, I can select the slab and that, I can right click and I can go clip surface, and it punches a hole right through it. If I right click and I edit modifiers, I can change the shape of that and it'll cut right through the slab. I'm just going to undo that and put all those back. So we can create slabs, we can create floors. Think of a floor as not just being a slab, but think of a floor as being any horizontal shape. So if you need to make a concrete shelf, or if you need to make a series of bookcases, why not use the floor object? It gives you that nice color in 2D. So in 2D plan view, when I make a floor, notice that I do not lose my solid fill. So we make that a floor, and there it is. What if I make that an extrusion? Model and extrude, so 100 millimeters. Notice I've lost my fill. That's the difference between extrusion and a hybrid object. This is the end of lesson 4.4. In this lesson you learned how to create simple floors. You learned how to edit floors.